everybody? It's your girl Mika, and you're watching the Red Cup Podcast, where truth, pop culture, and politics meet.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl Mika, and we're back for another Red Cup Talks, because this is where truth, pop culture, and politics meet. And thanks to everybody pulling up. It is Friday. Thank you so much for pulling up. I know I normally don't go live on Fridays, but I did not feel like just trying to do a whole bunch of premieres. Okay. I did not feel like doing a whole bunch of premieres. So I said, let's go live and talk about all the randomness that is going on in media today. So thank you guys for pulling up on such a random Friday, because it is unplanned. But I figured, whoever pulls up, we can just talk about all the randomness. So I'm calling this Friday Random Weekend Show. Okay. We're just going to pour it up about everything that's going on right now. Everything. So you guys, again, thank you so much for pulling up. Thank you. I see you, Carl. Okay. I see you, Sugar Shane. Everybody in the chat. Tijuana Border Jumper. Thank you guys. Loud and clear for all pulling up. Trevor, I see you. Thank you. And as more people come in, we'll talk about more. We'll get into more of the heavier stuff. But I want to start off on a light note. But again, happy Friday, everybody. Again, thank you for pulling up. Let me know where you're from in the chat. Okay. Let me know if you're from, Cleveland, the Browns. Let me know if you're from Dallas, Cowboys. Let me know where you're from. Okay. Shout it out. What's going on? You know what? I would do a call-in show. I would do that. And I'm actually going to start doing those in the beginning of the year. So those are some of the things that I will do. Would y'all like to do that on a Friday or one of the off days? Let me know in the chat. Yeah, we can do that. What's going on, Laura? All right, you guys. I want to start off on a light note, okay? A really light note, because it is Friday. And before we get into the heavy stuff, I want to start off on a light, funny note. So if you guys don't know this show, okay, it is called Pop the Balloon. And Pop the Balloon has become a bit of a cultural phenomenon, from YouTube all the way now to Netflix, but I don't like the Netflix version. However, this version that came out, I guess this week or last week, was absolutely insane. All right. And it was insane because it involved a little bit of politics. And when I say it involved a little bit of politics, meaning the person with the balloon, that one you see right there, the person with the balloon, he decided to ask the person that is the date for who he voted for. Now, again, this is Pop the Balloon, but the twist is the Native Land podcast, the TDS podcast that has Angela Rye, Tiffany Cross, Andrew Gilliam, y'all know, sassy. And then they all got together and started to talk about Pop the Balloon. So I want to go ahead and get into this because I thought this was hilarious. All right, here we go.
Who did you vote for in the 2024 election?
2024?
As in last year?
No, I didn't subscribe to politics. I don't subscribe to politics. That's the illusion of choice.
And why'd you pop? That's bullshit.
Damn.
I respect that.
Yeah. Thank you. Why do you feel that? It is 2024. We are under a dictatorship, and you are still out of politics at 51. Get out of my face. Thank you.
Well, the bottom line is, if you think that your vote
You
chooses
were
our
born
president,
into a game that you have to play, and if you do not play the game, the rest of us see.
I believe voting is really, really
It's
important
an easy
on
thing
the
to do.
local
You do it
and
and get it done
medicinal
with.
level. Like when you deal with your school systems in the municipality, you can have a lot of
Absolutely.
power there. But on the
Absolutely.
federal level, if you think that your vote has anything to do with who's the president of the United States, you just misunderstand the system.
Yeah, I got my bachelor's in criminal justice, a minor in psychology and political science. I studied it. Thank you.
That doesn't matter. It's still the same system, perpetuates the same results.
I love it. That would even that.
Now, that last part took me out, okay? That I got my this and that and the third, and I studied it, and I got my bachelor's in political science. It's absolutely wild, okay? Because women on the left, they always do this, all right? The man is there dating, and there's nothing wrong with talking about your political differences, but the problem is how she's talking to him.
And if you do not play the game, the rest of us see.
I believe, voting is really, really
It's an
important
easy
on
thing
the
to do.
local
You do it
and
and you get it
medicinal.
done with.
Now let's be real here, okay? That man could care less about who she voted for. The fact that she decided to come out in those TikTok boots, look at the white shoes, and that dress right there, and that top. He was going to say Trump anyway. He was absolutely going to say Trump. Okay. If he was a Kamala voter, okay, if he voted for the Green Party, the Independent Party, I don't care. If he's a Muslim, he was absolutely going to say he was a Donald Trump voter. All right.
Level, like when you deal with your school systems in the municipality, you can have a lot of power there. But on a federal level, if you think that your vote has anything to do with who's the president of the United States, you just misunderstand the system.
Yeah, I got my bachelor's in criminal justice, a minor in psychology and political science. I studied it. Thank you.
All right. This is the last time I'm going to stop before we get into what Tiffany Cross and everybody had to say. This outfit is it's throwing me off. Why would you think you can come to a show that's on national television like this? It's just, and then talk down to someone as if you are the cream of the crop. And that is what's wrong in the dating world today. I'm telling you guys, that's absolutely what's wrong. That top is ill-fitted. You don't know where it begins or ends, okay? Just look like she just bass fishing. You wear a whole jumper set. That's what that skirt looks like. Okay, you just pull it like, okay.
That doesn't matter. It's still the same system, perpetuates the same results.
I love it. That wasn't even the clip I was talking about, but I love that.
I hope they pulled the clip that I just sent, because the one I was about the sister that smoked weed, it was proud.
But
Well,
listen,
for the listeners.
Listen, I think Pop the Balloon is this new cultural phenomenon, Andrew. I know you.
I mean, so who is that? She wants to date.
It's a dating show.
Explain how
It's a dating show. So there is in this particular case, there's one guy that comes out, and there's a series of women there, and they have balloons. And if they dislike the guy, then they'll pop the balloons. And sometimes when the people emerge, right, just from the visual, you'll hear like pop, 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 pop.
Like,
Talking
are
about-
they saying anything?
talking about destroying,
It could be a man or a woman.
destroying your confidence. Like they actually had Woody and Charleston White on there one time. I mean,
Oh, really?
who is what?
Woody and Charleston White. You don't know
Oh
Charleston
my
White?
goodness. Here we are. We're in the city of Atlanta, and she doesn't know who Woody is.
I don't know who Woody is. I don't know Woody, but I know
Woody,
Charleston White.
YSL. He
The
did the.
tattoos,
You know,
right.
he was testifying. He was on the stand.
Okay. Got it.
And
I would hate to have him on the witness
they
stand.
asked him a question, and he did like this, and she was like, "Why are you shrugging your shoulders?" And
She said, how many kids you got? She said 3. He said, could be. Could
she
be.
said, "Why are you shrugging your shoulders?" He said, "They mine." So anyway, they have different characters that come on to the Pop the Balloon show, and it's like a Find Your Love show. And sometimes you'll have a guy come on there, and he's like,
connection.
he's like,
but ratchet.
yeah, he's like, I work a 9 to 5, and then they'll pop the balloon, and because the girls may want something else, and then he'll be like, yeah, but I make $2.5 million a year. And then they'll be like, I need to blow my balloon back up. Right. So it's that type of show. And on this show, it was like, on this particular episode, one of the questions devolved into politics. But Tiffany has a problem with the show.
Tiffany always
And
has a
I
problem.
think that, however people find love is how they find love.
But it's not finding love.
It's
But
entertainment,
I
all
think
shows.
it's
almost.
entertainment, and it's also. I don't think it's entertaining. Okay.
Did you like the Love Connection?
Chuck Willery, he's a big Trump supporter, by the way. I love
Do you hear the TDS? Now, I'm not a fan of this podcast, but here's the thing about it. This was, it started off very lighthearted. They could have easily just made this a lighthearted episode. Tiffany is way more Trump deranged even than Angela Rye. Okay. She's like, oh, did you know he was a Trump supporter? What does that have to do with the love connection? Like, so what? The person that read the love connection loves Trump. Who cares? Absolutely. Like, I don't understand connecting Donald Trump to everything. Did you know Donald Trump buys red roses? Like, absolutely not. Like, we're talking about dating and they still have TDS.
Yeah, shut up. I
But
didn't know
yes,
that.
I was younger then, so I didn't have enough, context. But yeah, I used to watch. I remember they made fun of it on A Living Color.
It wasn't as
with Robin Givens
humiliating
and
as
Mike
like
Tyson.
popping the
But
balloon.
no, because right, exactly. So on Pop the Balloon, what ends up happening 95% of the time is you're literally just standing there insulting each other. So they say, oh, we got pop balloons. Let's go down the line and see why we got pop balloons. And then the person will say, why'd you pop your balloon? And the dude might be like, I mean, baby girl fat and I don't like her hair. And she's like, okay, well, is he someone that's your type? And she'll say, I mean, I don't like him. He's a little short for me. I don't like that. It is so gutter and insulting. And I just feel like as Black
Sound
people,
true to me.
we
But
get beat down
But
so
also,
much.
all of them aren't that way. And
Sounds
I saw
true to me.
90% of them
Okay,
are.
I can't
how
say
do you-
that. I
so what
haven't
do
seen
we-
90%,
so what
but
do
I
you-
haven't seen all. Like, there was one where there was literally a misunderstanding on polygamy, right? Like, she was asking him because it was an African dude. I don't know what part, but she was asking him if he.
Big ass continent.
I know, but I just remember being an African dude. She was asking him what he thought about polygamy, and he misunderstood the question.
Absolutely.
So she popped the balloon because he misunderstood the question. Yes.
Was he
Yes.
from a polygamous society?
This is my point. Like, what was the intention in asking him about polygamy? Like,
she said polyamory, but the point is, like,
Polyamorous.
yes, but that's
Polyamorous.
basically the same damn thing. But the point
I don't
is,
know what any of these things are.
the point
You know
you
what
have
polygamy
multiple
is.
lives, multiple boo things, multiples. She did not want to do with multiple, so she asked him, and he misunderstood what she
How
was.
do people do multiples? I shit. Coming home having two wives?
I don't know.
Ask
The point
them people.
is,
I don't like insult.
Could
like,
you imagine having
This is ridiculous.
yes.
it is, but it is entertaining.
No, I mean,
And some of them get like a little, but even the conversation, like they get a little
they could find the
aggressive
weed
and violent. One guy was, it was like a bunch of women, and the guy was insulting to the women. So one of the women was like, "Yeah, I popped my balloon. I didn't like the way you spoke to her," and he was like verbally aggressive towards her, like, "Yeah, because you a girl's girl. Yeah, that woman ain't got nothing to do with you." And to me,
how
at
many
this
of these
point,
have you watched?
whatever pops up in my feed.
Part
And
of
I'm
it
always
sounds
wondering,
like-
like, how does this pop up in my feed? And so the
It's 'cause
girl
you're
was saying,
friends.
I popped
Because you're
because
friends.
you were
It probably
aggressive to
just
this
ain't me and
woman.
Bakari.
And but again, he's being aggressive towards her. And there's just nothing entertaining about watching us insult each other. I don't even like the women. Like when we saw that woman, I'm like, I don't have
What's the
nothing to
difference
say
between that and a
bad
dating
about
app,
that
though?
woman. I don't know. I don't do
You
dating
don't have
apps
to say
either.
it out
But
loud.
I just saw this and thought this was absolutely insane. It's just like, it's entertainment. Most of the people are not really finding love. It's just for entertainment. Okay. Now, I enjoy, hearing people speak, as they say, their truth. I enjoy it. I thought it was hilarious. I absolutely thought it was hilarious because she popped that balloon like, she was a dime on the side of the road, just waiting for somebody to pick her up. At the end of the day, this is how they are, really going about it in the dating market. Okay. They're going about it like, hey, I don't want to date, a misogynist. I don't want to date somebody that supports the patriarchy. All of these things that actually, you would want as a family unit. You want a man to lead. You want your children to honor the patriarch of the family, and it's just absolutely insane how we're going to go overlook great people just because they voted for Donald Trump. It's absolutely insane, especially when they're not even a 1 on the scale. But I could be wrong. So you guys let me know what you think about that. That was just absolutely insane to me. So on to other ridiculousness. I want to get into this randomness of a college student being deported. All right. So back during I would say the Thanksgiving holiday weekend, somewhere around there. Okay, but the story is just coming out a day or so ago. There was a college student that decided that she was going to go home to Texas and found out, that she was going to go home to Honduras. Okay. You cannot make this stuff up. She's 19. Watch this.
That 19-year-old student is still in Honduras. She was planning to surprise her family in Austin ahead of Thanksgiving, actually the week before. According to her lawyer, now she has been deported. The federal government says that she has been in the U.S. illegally, in their words, since 2014. But at that time, according to her lawyer, she was 7 years old. Here's some of the conversation I had with him moments ago.
Shackled her around her ankles, around her wrists, around her waist. They did like a perp walk with her, treated her like she was a criminal suspect. And all she is a dreamer that's been, trying to have a better life for herself. She doesn't have a criminal record. And at most, she might have a flaw in her case from over nearly a decade ago that she didn't even know about. She didn't even attend her court hearing. Her parents were responsible for that. And children aren't.
Whose problem is that? Whose problem is it that she didn't attend her court hearing? So her parents purposely did what they decided to do, come here illegally, and they even did it to their child. Their child could have possibly gotten, some type of temporary status or citizenship, whatever. Obama could have gave her something under the Dreamers Act, at the time, whatever. Your parents did you a disservice, but you are now 19. You could have went and applied. I don't understand.
Responsible for understanding the law when they're 7 and 8 years old.
So in the federal government's eyes, now we don't know if it's an error or not, but in the federal government's eyes, they're saying that she's been in the country for over 10 years illegally. What happens next?
She wasn't here illegally. She was seeking asylum, which is a legal process. They're not telling you that. She was allowed to enter with her family to apply for asylum. That's a legal process. It's protected by federal laws and various treaties our government has signed over the years. If we don't like asylum, well, we change the laws, but the law required her to be able to utilize that process.
Beloza attends Babson College in Boston. Again, her family lives in Texas, in the Austin area. Today, the dean of that campus, the dean of campus life at Babson, said that the school is limited in what they can say, but said relevant faculty and staff have been informed. Stephen Heather, according to her lawyer, she was able to do a Zoom with her family on Thanksgiving. She is with her grandparents in Honduras, so not alone in Honduras, but still a situation that her family's not happy with right now.
And again, whose fault is that? Like, whose fault is that? That's not our fault. Okay, we have nothing to do with it. Her mother and her father knew what they were doing. Unfortunately, ma'am, you got caught up in whatever your mother and father was, doing, and it's just unfortunate. However, here's the thing. They use these types of stories to pull on the heartstrings, okay? Because let's say this is the only place that she remembers, because she came over here 7, 8, something like that. So she absolutely remembers Honduras, okay? But let's say, this is the only place that she remembers. It doesn't matter. She was still illegal. That's how they got her at the airport. She was still illegal, okay? And at this point, you're 19. So now you have spent an entire year as an adult, okay? And you've done nothing about this illegal status, which means you were going to go about it just like your parents and stay and do what you want to do. So, ma'am, no, you got to go. Those are my thoughts on that. So you guys let me know what you guys think. I think her parents did her dirty. I absolutely do. But I also think that, you can't control what your parents did, but the circumstances change once you're 18. Okay. You knew you did not have papers. Did you think that was okay? Okay. And your parents probably told you, oh yeah, it's good. It's good. You'll be good. You're fine. You see what happens, don't you? So let that be a lesson to a lot of you. Get the papers in order. It is what it is. Trump not playing with them. So you guys, I want to get into something that I thought was hilarious. It is the fight between Halle Berry, okay, Miss Halle Berry, and Gavin Newsom. Okay, when I tell you it's a random Friday, it's a random Friday. All this random stuff I saw on my feed was wild. What's going on, Miss Tropical? I just saw this and I just said, why is Halle Berry? I'll play it for you and then we'll talk about it. Here we go.
Back in my great state of California, my very own governor, Gavin Newsom, has vetoed our menopause bill, not 1, but 2 years in a row.
Dos.
But that's okay, because he's not going to be governor forever. And with the way he's overlooked women, half the population, by devaluing us in midlife, he probably should not be our next president either. Just saying. I need every woman in this country to fight with me. But the truth is, the fight isn't just for us women. We need men too. We need all of the leaders, every single one of you in this room. This fight back in.
Halle Berry introduced an idea about a menopause bill. I am a woman. I am so sympathetic to all the things that we have going on. However, some of this stuff is just asinine. They, on one hand, we are weak, feeble beings, and then on the other hand, oh, don't treat us like that. We're strong, and it's just like we have a lot of things that we can do and that we can't do. But when I tell you the feminists make it very hard to be understood as a woman, they make it very hard for us. Okay. And Halle Berry is one of those. Okay. She's on the Trump deranged train, just like Meryl Streep, all the great actors. I'm telling you, all of them are Trump deranged. All of them are feminists. All of the great singers, like they're all in Hollywood Trump deranged. And when they reach a certain age, when, taking off the clothes no longer works, then they want to say you are stopping them from doing what they want to do, ageism, sexism, all of this stuff. But it was fine when you were the Bond girl. But I digress. However, I want to get into something that she said. She said that Gavin Newsom doesn't value women. He doesn't value women, especially in their older age. And it made me think of Don Lemon. Okay. Don Lemon was fired from CNN. Okay. I don't care what he tells you right now. Oh, I wasn't fired. This happened. He was fired from CNN because he devalued women. Now he talks all of this stuff. Oh, I'm for women. I'm for Black women. I'm for, minorities. However, he was fired for this.
This whole talk about age makes me uncomfortable. I think it's the wrong road to go down. She says people, politicians or something are not in their prime. Nikki Haley isn't in her prime. Sorry. When a woman is considered to be in her prime in her 20s and 30s and maybe 40s.
What do you talk? Wait.
That's not according to me.
Prime for what?
It depends. I mean, it's just like prime. If you look it up, if you Google when is a woman in her prime, it'll say 20s, 30s, and 40s. I don't necessarily.
40s. So I got another.
I'm not saying
decade.
I agree with that. So I think she has to be careful about saying that, politicians aren't in their prime.
You need to qualify. Are you talking about prime for like childbearing, or are you talking about prime for being president?
What the facts are. Google it. Everybody at home. When is a woman in her prime? It says 20s, 30s, and 40s. And I'm just saying Nikki Haley should be careful about saying that politicians are not in their prime and they need to be in their prime when they serve, because she wouldn't be in her prime according to Google or whatever it is. This whole talk about age makes me.
When Don Lemon said that with those liberal white women, his days was numbered. Mr. Lemon Drop himself, his days were numbered. Okay. And they were numbered because at the end of the day, you cannot say that to feminist women. There's absolutely nothing wrong with getting older. There's absolutely nothing wrong with looking great for your age. But when he said that, they got highly upset and he was up out of there. And that was the last time Don Lemon seen cable network news. All right. As without being a contributor, because he's been downgraded to contributor. However, it made me think of that because she said that Gavin Newsom should not be the president and should not be the governor of the state because he doesn't value women. So with that being said, it went viral and, paparazzi caught up with Gavin Newsom. Okay. And this is what he had to say.
Governor, how are you, sir? Good to see you. Last question for you. Obviously, Halle Berry had some comments. Do you have any? She had
actually just was connected with her manager. We're ability to reconcile that, so we're reconciling.
So,
I've included it in the budget next year. She didn't know that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we're reconciling.
So, what's your message to women who might have been offended by the bill, or just what do they not understand about the bill that they should
They didn't
understand?
understand we already were in the process of fixing it, so we're getting it fixed.
So did you have you talked to our manager exactly, or Governor? Any chance 2028? Everyone's looking at you, expecting big things.
Way premature. 2026, all that matters. Speaker Jeffries.
What's the hardest part about your job that nobody really understands?
People like you tracking me down, brother.
Come on, brother, man, you're the man. Hey, man, I wish you all the best. Thank you for being. I appreciate it. Governor, how are you, sir? Good to see you.
So that was Newsom's response to Halle Berry coming for the governor. Okay. Halle Berry said, look, he should not be governor and he should not be, the president of the United States, which he won't be. However, the thing about it is Gavin Newsom is lying. All right. Gavin Newsom is lying. He knows daggone well that he's not going to put that in the budget. Absolutely not. And you know who agrees that he doesn't need to put it in the budget because of healthcare? The Golden Girls themselves. All right. The Golden Girls have spoken on this. So we shall take their word because they absolutely know what they're talking about.
So California Governor Gavin Newsom, he's very handsome, isn't he? He is. He's considered to be a presidential frontrunner in 2028, but he's probably not getting a vote from actress Halle Berry. She's not happy that he vetoed a bill aimed at improving and expanding menopause care in California. Watch.
Gavin Newsom has vetoed our menopause bill, not 1, but 2 years in a row.
Yep.
But that's okay, because he's not going to be governor forever. And with the way he's overlooked women, half the population, by devaluing us in midlife, he probably should not be our next president either. The days of outliving men by doing it in poor health are over. Why? Because we simply deserve better. We are half the population. Because at this stage in my life, I have 0 left to give.
So Halle Berry is hot under the collar, and not just from menopause. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think that the biggest part of this story is her take on menopause. Menopause is half the population. We're all going to go through it. The way it affects families, marriages, the workforce. 1.3 million U.S. women enter menopause annually. 75 million women are in perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopausal in this country right now. 75% of women who seek care are left untreated by their doctors. 80% of OBGYN residents admit to being ill-prepared. This is half the population, people.
Yeah.
Half of the population is suffering, and now we're at least talking about it. It's no longer in silence, but it varies woman to woman. That can last a decade for you. Why are we not coming to the aid of half the population?
What are we coming to the aid of? Every woman understands what menopause is. We understand your grandma, my mom, my great grandma, like we've all seen it. So I'm trying to understand what is the actual issue. I've seen my grandfathers, my brothers, my dad, everybody understands menopause. What actually are we arguing about?
I am.
I mean, it's bad.
You've been in it for like 30 years. Right now.
I was going to say, speaking as someone who experiences my own personal summer often, I adore Halle Berry. I know Halle Berry. I disagree with her 100% on
Yeah,
this.
tell me.
Because Gavin Newsom made it very clear that the reason that he has vetoed this bill twice is because he's asking them to tailor it for costs. Remember that in 2026, healthcare premiums are going to go up to almost $1,000 per family. And so in an effort to keep healthcare costs down, he has to veto it because they're not tailoring the bill. And
Absolutely not. Sonny is lying. Sonny is lying. Here's the thing about it. You don't need to tailor it for cost because they didn't have to tailor their, so California has their own, Medicaid. They didn't have to tailor that when it came to the illegals. Okay. I'm not even for whatever this bill is. I don't get into all of that. Okay. Because liberals, they come up with all kinds of bills. However, she's an American. Okay. They didn't have to tailor the cost when it came to putting undocumented people on Medicaid. So, I mean, California does everything else. Go ahead and put this on there. It's because Gavin Newsom is not going to do it. It's not going to be in the budget, just like he lied to all of those good old, people that voted with the Black Caucus out there in California, saying that they were going to get reparations when we knew the Black Caucus was not going to get reparations. What they got was another study. And those people were absolutely upset. They couldn't believe that they went out and did all this stomping for all of these people to get into the state house, only for them not to give them reparations. Shocker. So at the end of the day, they do what they want to do. Okay? They do what they want to do. And Gavin Newsom is not going to give these women, or anybody else for that matter, what they want outside of the illegals, because that is the only group that is actually growing, or that has grown. Okay, so they cater to the illegals so they can get in office. They have already passed, the proposition that they needed to pass to gerrymander the state to death. So now they have what they need. Okay, and they already don't check your IDs when you go to vote. So I don't think it's going to pass, but Holly Berry can keep dreaming. So you guys, let me know what you think about those stories. Okay. Now, normally, I call them shots, but it's Random Friday. We're just doing random stories. Okay. But I do have a couple of major stories. But before we get into that, you guys, I want to acknowledge the super chats. And thank you so much to Sway Jones on Cash App. And thank you so much to Mike That Dude on Cash App as well. I appreciate it. Because some people don't like putting super chats. And they'll just cash at me. So either way, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much to Tropical Empress and Spirits with the 199 super chat. Hi, beautiful Mika. Hello, darling. Hey. All right, you guys. I see y'all in the chat. Y'all are wild. What? I know you guys see it in the chat. Aren't they sad? Aren't they sad? They spend their whole Friday. Come on, just go outside. Go outside. As my girl Molly said, go outside, touch grass. Okay. Do something else with your Friday. It's snowing. Go make a snowman. Have fun. Live well. We are conservatives over here. We talk about everything. We talk about everybody, including conservatives. Okay. It's just liberals. It's your turn. Don't get mad. We see you in the chat. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and get into everything else. All right. It is Friday and I'm sure you guys want to go chill. So let's go ahead and get into some stuff. What should we do next? Let's go ahead and get into, let's go ahead and get into the Supreme Court. Let's do that. So everybody, if you don't know, the Supreme Court decided that they would go ahead and take up Donald Trump's birthright citizenship argument. And the liberals are scared. I'm telling you, they are running scared. It was breaking news earlier, so I want to go ahead and get into that. And then we'll come back and talk about it. All right, here we go.
Let's go to our CNN chief Supreme Court analyst, Joan Biskupic, who is in the newsroom. What's happening, Joan?
Supreme Court just this minute, Brianna, announced it's going to take up challenge to President Trump's order lifting birthright citizenship. You might remember on January 20th, his first day in office, he took his Sharpie pen and he said, this is a big one. And what he did was he tried to eliminate the automatic birthright citizenship that all Americans have had for more than a century. And what that does, it goes to the 14th Amendment of the Constitution that says all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States. That means that anyone who's born here, Brianna, automatically becomes a U.S. citizen. And what Donald Trump's executive order tried to do was say anyone who was born of someone who was not here lawfully or who was here on some sort of temporary status, that person's baby would not automatically be a citizen. It's a very, it's probably of all the Trump actions that have been taken to date, Brianna, this one is the most challenging because what it does is it flies in the face of the 14th Amendment that was adopted in 1868, and it flies in the face of an 1898 Supreme Court precedent that said, even if you were born of, in that case, it happened to be a Chinese national, even if you were born of someone who was not here as a U.S. citizen, you definitely still have citizenship here.
That's how you know you're lying. No, ma'am. Absolutely not. Okay. You do not still have citizenship here. What they are talking about, okay, the 14th Amendment is about who? Slaves, okay? Or the children of slaves, all right? Nobody else. And the liberals always use everything that is, for Black people, African Americans, whatever you want to call the term, they always use that as a catalyst for everybody else. Okay, just like they did with civil rights. And it's so annoying because this woman just sat there and forgot one of the major words that is in that sentence, and that's you have to be under the jurisdiction. I cannot tell you you are under my jurisdiction if you're not under my jurisdiction. If your mother is a Chinese national, okay, and I can't keep her, okay, she can go back to China, then guess what? You are a Chinese national. And that's why it says jurisdiction, okay? You have to have jurisdiction over somebody. Okay, you cannot just take people and make them Americans. And so that's why that matters. And this is why Donald Trump knew it would go to the Supreme Court. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. A lot of people tend to think that, oh, well, we could just do whatever we want. No, you cannot. Okay, everybody doesn't get citizenship. It's asinine and crazy to think that you could just come over here on, vacation and have babies. But that's what they do. Okay, all this dual citizenship, that's what they do. Okay, they have a whole birth tourism where they come over here where they're 8-9 months and then boom, they have an American citizen and they go back to whatever country. It's wild. It wasn't even meant for everybody, but that's how they're getting around it. Okay, everybody that crossed the Rio Grande, they come over here, boom, they have a baby. Oh, I get to stay now. It's absolutely wild. But yet you go to Mexico, see if you don't get sent back. Okay. They used to have something here when I was a kid. We used to play a game called I Don't Want to Go to Mexico. Okay. And it was a little hand game. And the words were this: I don't want to go to Mexico no more. There's a big fat policeman at the door. Right. And it went on and on and on. But it was about like not being able to get into Mexico. Right. And so you have an understanding that all of these places, you are not able to just go over there. Okay. Mexico is kicking out people left and right. And that's Americans, South Americans, they don't care. But yet, we should allow them to come over. It's absolutely insane.
Here in the U.S., Brianna, and the court has not set exactly what the timetable will be for hearing oral arguments, but I imagine they would be in the spring with a decision by the end of June.
Okay, so how would that play out? We would then just see the normal oral arguments, and I notice you're pointing at your ear, Joan. I think maybe you're having some.
Now
kind of
I can hear you. Now
okay, you can hear me now. All right, so
Yes,
how would that play out? We would just be able to hear oral arguments and really get a sense of where the justices are on this issue.
Exactly. Just as a kind of reminder of what's happened, the Supreme Court took up a kind of a mini chapter in this last spring when several lower court judges said that this was blatantly unconstitutional and issued nationwide orders. And the Supreme Court heard just a part of that dispute, saying they'd look only at lower court judges' authority to issue nationwide injunctions. They rejected that. They rejected the lower court's action, but they never got to the merits. So what we'll do is we will hear early in 2026, you'll be able to hear, everybody in our audience will be able to hear, because these arguments will be live streamed on the Supreme Court audio, and hear the Trump lawyers make their case for why Donald Trump should be able to roll back this automatic citizenship that has been with us, as I say, for more than a century.
Yeah, I can't wait. I absolutely can't wait. I will be front and center listening to that because there is no automatic citizenship. Like I don't understand. But Democrats, they're gonna do what they do. So with that being said, I want to get into another bombshell from the court. Okay. The court also ruled that the Texas maps, the maps that they were doing down in Texas, okay, that they were not racist, and now they have been redrawn, and now Ratchet Crockett officially does not have TX30. But the 92%, they're upset. So we have to go and listen to what they have to say because they do not like that, they got to follow those maps.
Everybody, it's Amanda Edwards running to be the next Congresswoman for the 18th Congressional District.
Okay,
You
good.
may have already heard this news, but I had to share it here. That is, the United States Supreme Court just ruled to uphold the racially gerrymandered maps to be used in the 2026 midterm election cycle, which means that on March 3rd, 2026, there will be new boundaries used for that particular election. This not only is the wrong side of justice, but it also will sow seeds of confusion that will be widespread. This is wrong, and we must stand up and fight back against this. But in the meantime, I want to make sure that everybody understands that the special election will continue to use the existing boundaries from 2021. But the midterm election that will take place on March 3rd, 2026, will use the new boundaries. Those boundaries, of course, stemming from the racially gerrymandered maps. Again, we stand out and speak out against this. This is wrong, and we must continue to fight back and stand up.
Now, let me give you a little bit of insight, okay? Because Maryland, the state where I live, does this also, okay? Maryland only has one Republican seat, and I can tell you they have more than one Republican district. I wonder why. It's because Maryland has gerrymandered their maps to death. All right, but it's not just that. Maryland uses the fact that where the dense population is, they use that, and then they redraw any kind of little squiggly lines where the populations are big. You have some have a district in like 2 counties. It's just absolutely wild how Maryland maps are drawn. All right. And they use places like PG County and Baltimore to actually go in and draw these maps. And they go around other little rural areas to the point where the Republican districts don't have any representation. They absolutely don't have representation. And so if Maryland can do this with no problem, and then you have bald-headed Westmore saying that, we're going to continue to look at the maps. Sir, it's only one seat left. I don't understand. I really don't understand. It's only one seat left. You can at least act like you're not gerrymandering the state to death. Okay? But that's how it is. But when they do it, it's fine. Okay? And I will give some of the media credit. They've called it out to Westmore to say that Maryland has absolutely done this. But of course, because Maryland is ran by a Black governor, they don't want to admit that. So it is what it is. However, I want to get into BS Now, aka MS Now, on what they had to say about everything that's going on with the Supreme Court. Here we go.
Joining us, Slate senior writer and co-host of the Amicus podcast, Mark Joseph Stern, investigative reporter for the Austin American-Statesman, Tony Plahetsky, former Deputy Assistant Attorney General Tom Dupree, and MS Now senior legal reporter Lisa Rubin. So Mark Joseph Stern, yet again using the shadow docket. Then again, they needed to do something about this if they were going to act at all before the December 7th deadline. They're arguing the lower court got in the way of a midterm. But wouldn't the lower court argue that Texas was jumbling around with the midterm pretty late in the game as well?
That's exactly right. The only reason that the district court blocked this map in November is because Texas undertook an unprecedented mid-decade redistricting at the last possible moment in order to get those extra 5 seats for Donald Trump. As Justice Kagan noted in her dissent, there was no way that the district court could have ruled faster. And yet the Supreme Court, in its decision last night, still said that the ruling came too late to implement, that it would somehow cause voter confusion and chaos on the ground. That is a very aggressive assertion of the Supreme Court's power. It is a pretty major broadside against judicial review of voting rules. And it indicates that from here on out, states are going to have this kind of loophole where a year out from an election, they can change the rules, they can change the maps, and federal courts will be largely powerless to stop them because the states can just go and say, it's too late, we're already setting our elections in place, and the Supreme Court will back them up. Based on this decision, there are 6 justices who think a year out, that's still too close to an election for courts to change a thing.
And it's been fine in Illinois. It's been fine in Pennsylvania. It's been fine in Maryland. And I can continue to go on. It's definitely been fine in California. So why do we care? Why do we care? It's been fine all of this time, only when the Republicans do things. And I'm not a fan of gerrymandering at all. I believe that, if the constituents in that area are whatever they are, then that's what you should go with. However, gerrymandering is a thing. But I will say this, the Republicans do it 10 times less than the Democrats do it. Okay. When PB&J Pritzker out there, the governor of Illinois, when he said it, everybody said the same thing. They're like, Illinois is one of the top gerrymandered states. I think it's like number 2. Okay. And Maryland is right behind them. It's absolutely insane. California, Illinois, Maryland, please. Pennsylvania, please. Okay. Please. They're only doing this because they know it will give the Republicans advantage. They care absolutely nothing about actually gerrymandering. So you guys get down in the comments and let me know what you think about all of that nonsense with the courts. Okay. Let me know what you think because it's getting wild. It's absolutely getting wild out here. All right, you guys. So I want to really quick go ahead and get into the super chat so we can get into our main topics. All right. Let's see here. We got the $5 super chat from Empire Foundation 6328. Thank you so much. Mika, continue your thing. Here's a future toast to 100K subscribers in 20. I know that's right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a great year. This is my official first year podcasting. And I went from 0 to almost 20K subs in under a year. So I'm absolutely ecstatic. And thank you so much. I definitely claim that. And I claim that $5. Thank you so much for the super chat, Empire. I appreciate it. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and get into this Stephen A. business. All right, so Stephen A. Smith absolutely cooked the Golden Girls, okay? He cooks the Golden Girls every time, and he did it here on the podcast. He did it here on their show just the other day. And I want to go ahead and get into that because I thought this was absolutely fabulous. There's nothing else that I'd rather do with my time than watch the Golden Girls squirm. Okay. Nothing else I'd rather do with my time. All right. It's absolutely fun. It's fun. So let's go ahead and get into that. And we're gonna talk about it as it goes because it's a bit of a piece, maybe 8 minutes. So let's go ahead and get into it.
Stephen A. Smith has no shortage of opinions, whether he's talking about sports on ESPN's First Take or politics on his new Sirius XM show, Straight Shooter with Stephen A. So please welcome back Stephen A. Smith.
Now, come on.
across the hall.
That's right.
It is nice to have you as a neighbor and at the table.
Thank you so much. Good to see y'all.
So it's been a minute since you were here. Last time you were here, it was 6 weeks into Trump 2.0, his
Yes.
second administration. And you had some really sharp criticisms of Democrats in the election for having sort of lost touch with the issues the voters cared about.
Yep.
How are you feeling now, a year into Trump? And what do you make of this discussion around affordability and him saying it seems like it's a scam from Democrats?
Well, that's rhetoric on his part. There's nothing
Oh,
surprising or unpredictable about that. You could see that coming from a mile away because he has to say that right now because it's an issue and a concern for the American people. And he wants to act as if there is no concern because everything he's doing is just so beautiful and so marvelous and what have you. But in the end, the Democrats give the credit where credit is due at this particular moment in time. I think that they've learned from some of their mistakes anyway. When you see what happened in New York with Mamdani, when you see what happens in New Jersey with Cheryl as the governor, when you see what happens with Spanberger in Virginia, clearly there's something that's going on within the Democratic establishment that's saying, let's focus on real issues that are pertinent to the American people. Let's make sure we articulate ourselves appropriately so we don't lose sight of what the message should be. Leading up to the election, they did just that, and I thought they handed him the election as opposed to him actually winning it. Now they're forcing him to play ball and figure out a way to beat them because they're coming and they're gaining some momentum. We'll see what happens from there.
Well, Stephen, as we wait the release of the Epstein files, House Oversight Democrats released this trove of really creepy photos from inside Jeffrey Epstein's private island.
Yep.
So I want to
What
ask you,
is
is this
that?
the tip of the iceberg? What do you think the Trump administration will actually and ultimately release? And if they have nothing to hide, why did they fight so forcefully against this?
Well, I'm suspicious. I'm suspicious in terms of, the hesitancy in releasing the Epstein files, particularly when it's something you campaigned on.
Yeah.
So I think in that regard, fine. But I also believe that there are people that have seen the Epstein files, and if there was something directly incriminating about Trump, it's something that would have been, we would have found out about it before the election because every measure would have been exhausted to make sure he didn't return to the White House. I do believe, however, when you have power brokers in place, what happens is on both sides of the aisle, it could be people in those Epstein files that can be severely incriminated, obviously. And
Well, they
anybody
protect each other.
Well, they protect each other. And
You don't
anybody
think Trump is in the files? I mean, he was
I'm not-
mentioned over 1,000 times.
I'm not saying he wasn't in the file.
Absolutely. Like this woman right here, Sunny, she gets on my nerves. Okay. And I'm going to tell you why she gets on my nerves because just a year ago, okay, before Donald Trump was elected, and they were talking about these Epstein files. She's like, well, we shouldn't put people's names out there because just because they're in the files doesn't mean they did anything. And that's absolutely correct, right? She always says the correct things when it's going to involve the Democrats. But when it involves Donald Trump, oh, it's all fair game. He's mentioned in the files. He knows Epstein. And okay, like if the Democrats really had something, I'm telling you right now, they would have gotten him. They would have pinned him to the ground and put him under the jail. Okay. And they wouldn't have had to get him on lying on a loan or whatever they thought they got him on. Okay. Which was civil. So I don't understand what Sunny is talking about. Okay. Cloudy Hostin always has something to say. Absolutely not. She needs to talk about that RICO case with her husband. That's why she knows so much about healthcare. Okay, her husband is a doctor under that RICO case in New York.
It wasn't in the files. I'm saying that if it was something really, really incriminating against him, I think we would have heard about it by now. I think him and others on both sides of the aisle they have friends that they're trying to protect.
Well, and it could be billionaires and people that
Sure, that's what I'm talking
supply
about.
their whole
That's what I'm
collection.
talking
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. And let's not
But wasn't Trump?
let's not act like that's a surprise.
He says he was a very close friend of his. I mean, he denies that.
Once upon a
Somebody said it's common knowledge that Trump is a pervert. It's common knowledge and video footage, actually, of Joe Biden touching little girls and sniffing hair. We can pull the footage. Like, you don't got to wait for the files. We can go pull that footage. And y'all said absolutely nothing. And it's common knowledge that CBS actually broke the story and it got buried. And the FBI confirmed that Hunter Biden's laptop had what on it? I bet you can't Google Hunter Biden's laptop. Okay.
the time. He did say that, but there's also videos of him calling out Epstein and saying, down the line, beware, because there's going to be some dirt you're going to find out about this man.
Yeah, but remember
That
what
was.
year he said that?
2015.
Yeah. That's kind of, you know.
They did reportedly have a falling out, but
They did. I heard it was over some property in Florida, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the excuses for it is what it is, but the point is that Epstein was doing what he was doing for years. So
Yeah.
whether it was 2015, 2010, I don't care when it was. If you're that kind of despicable human being, I want to find out about it. But damn if it was 20 years ago, 40 years ago. If you were that kind of person, we need to know you.
And Stephen A. Smith is absolutely correct. But what he's failing to bring up is the fact that Obama didn't get Jeffrey Epstein. He absolutely knew what Jeffrey Epstein was doing. He didn't get Jeffrey Epstein. It was Donald Trump. Okay? Jeffrey Epstein's own attorney said Donald Trump called the feds on him. Everybody knew what he was doing. We all know Bill Clinton knew what he was doing. Okay? We all know this. How come Bill Clinton didn't turn him in? Exactly.
Yeah, so you want to see the files?
Of course I want to see the files.
Me too.
Of course I want to see the files. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about this because Trump is claiming that he aced the cognitive test. Even though he's going on late night Truth Social tirades, in the middle of the night, he's texting and calling Governor Walz a name that we don't use anymore to disability. He's attacking female reporters as piggy and ugly. He's falling asleep in the middle of a meeting. I mean, I said yesterday that Marco Rubio is boring, but not that boring.
Now, I'm not going to lie. That was funny. That was absolutely funny. Trump a fool for that one. That was absolutely hilarious. I can't lie. I've been in meetings and fell asleep, okay? I expect an 80-year-old man to possibly nod off, okay? But absolutely in no type of way is this equivalent to Sleepy Joe, okay? He couldn't even do an actual debate. But they will try to compare it. Okay.
That he would fall asleep. So what do you think's going on with him?
Trump is being Trump.
Really? There's nothing cognitively wrong there?
Well, I'm not saying whether there is or isn't. What I'm saying is 77 million people don't care. They voted for him. And those same 77 million people
Is it
will
still
do it
that
again.
number?
They would do it. Well, you could say that it is or isn't, but the point is he's the president of the United States. Despite the onslaught of stuff that was coming his way, he knocked off folks, and the Democrats let him because they weren't on their game. Now you have to look at, because obviously he's not going to circumvent the 22nd Amendment, which will enable him to run for a third term. So now you're talking about J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio is considered the adult in the room, Secretary of State, National Defense, the National Security Advisor. You got J.D. Vance, he's the vice president, but he seems more Trump-ish in terms of how he conducts himself and how he's willing to go after people. So who is Trump going to support? One of the things that I talked about on my show was that I said, don't fall for it. Look at what Trump is doing. Trump is positioning himself to remain in power, even if he isn't the president. He wants to make sure he maintains that level of influence. And so because of, you see what he's done with the Honduras president, letting him out partying, even though the man is alleged to assist in funneling 400 tons of cocaine
Not
into
alleged.
the United
He was
States.
serving
That's right.
45
He was serving
years.
45 years,
Yeah.
absolutely. And you let him out in the same breath. You're bombing people in the Caribbean for the very thing that you said was a problem.
Well, let's talk about
All
the
of that stuff.
bombing.
Okay, so wait a minute. We can't let out drug dealers, but we can let out pedophiles. Okay? We can let those people out, but we cannot let out drug dealers. How does that make any sense? Okay? Because Joe Biden literally let out he gave out 8,000 pardons. 8,000. And he let out pedos. Literally, you can go Google it. This is his list. He let out pedos. The hypocrisy is crazy, but I understand when you smell children, you let out your friends so they can go smell children.
He's doing what he's doing, but in the end, what it comes down to is that you're going to have to beat him because he is going to make sure he dictates
If he
who his
stays awake.
successor is going to be.
If he stays awake.
Anticipate he's going to be awake.
My friend,
Joe.
I want to talk to you about the
Anticipate.
bombing, my friend.
Yes.
and some things that you recently said. You know I like you, right? Okay, so you recently accused Senator Mark Kelly, a veteran, an astronaut, of crossing the line for participating in a video reminding troops that they can refuse to follow illegal orders. Okay. Let's see some of what you said, my friend.
Sure. You know better, Senator Kelly. You know better. How dare you do that? You could go to the House. You can draw up paperwork. Okay. You can try to start articles of impeachment if you think there's something illegal. I mean, damn, it ain't like y'all haven't done it before. You impeached the man twice. Where'd that get you? Got his behind back in the White House.
Yep.
Had you left him alone since 2020, maybe he wouldn't be back. You don't tell military men and women to ignore an order from the commander-in-chief. You don't do that.
Caffeine's a bitch, you know?
Now, let me just remind you that Pete Hegseth said in 2016, I do think there have to be consequences for abject war crimes. If you're doing something that is just completely unlawful and ruthless, then there is a consequence for that. That's why the military said it won't follow unlawful orders from their commander-in-chief. Okay. Now, given the fact that the secretary himself said that, I'd love to give you the opportunity to perhaps change your position on what you said.
I'm not changing a thing.
Okay.
I didn't stutter when
you want to say loud and wrong?
Well, you could call it loud and wrong all you want to. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to mine. Here's the reality of the situation. First of all, I don't give a damn what Pete Hegseth has to say because I will tell you right now, he was never qualified for the job. When you talk about DEI and eradicating that, excuse me, what was he doing hosting Fox News on the weekend and all of a sudden he's the defense secretary? Please give me a break. I don't care what he has to say. You get that out the way. As it pertains to Mark Kelly, what I was talking about is military. What I did was get on the phone with family and friends who have served in the military. And I said, we're not civilians. This is not the court of law. You can be implicated for implying something if you are a former military member or you are a present military member. Yep. It wasn't what Mark Kelly said. It's the fact that he was a combat Navy pilot who served in the military who would tell folks, ignore an order when it could get them in the world. I said illegal. I said illegal. I'm talking illegal. I understand that.
He said you don't have to follow an unlawful order, and that is in the military code of conduct.
And yet, you guys had no problem with Barack Obama doing drone strikes, and you did nothing about it. So I don't understand why we're sitting here going back and forth about it, because you guys do not actually care. You guys don't care. You actually supported Barack Obama going into all of these places. Okay. What happened to we saw he died. And what happened to the young man, the 16-year-old that Barack Obama did kill with a drone strike? Okay. That should be a war crime. You cannot kill American citizens on foreign soil, but he did it anyway. And then guess what he used? He used the same order that Trump is using right now to do the strikes on the boats. The hypocrisy. And this is why I say, at the end of the day, the Democrats are full of it, because they do the exact same things when they think if something is, in a particular interest and is of danger, they do it. Just like Barack Obama used his executive privilege to keep Eric Holder from testifying at Congress when he was subpoenaed to go testify at Congress. Okay. Barack Obama decided, hey, I'm the president. He don't have to testify. The attorney general did not have to testify. And you know why he was trying to why he was supposed to testify? Because at the end of the day, he was running guns doing the whole Fast and Furious from Mexico to Chicago. Talk about the irony.
I'm saying to you, hold on, which I'm aware of.
But it didn't sound like you were aware of that.
Well, no. I disagree with you.
Stephen, can I ask you a question?
I had two governors, by the way, text me to tell me I was wrong, and they agree with you.
You are wrong.
I had two senators that reached out to me and said, you weren't wrong at all.
Well, Mikey Sherrill did say that the reason they felt the need to put that out is they were constantly being approached by people in the military saying, we're being put in really uncomfortable situations.
But
that to me is a little more relatable when you're a veteran yourself.
But I'm saying let me say this real quick.
You gotta do real quick, or wait till we come back.
All I'm saying is this. If you're a member of the military, I'm looking at the soldiers and saying, don't get yourself in trouble.
Let somebody else do it. Don't you do it because it ain't going to work for you.
Sorry, that was Alyssa slap him. not-
And he's absolutely correct. You got Mark Kelly up there saying all that stuff when you can say that as a congressman sitting up there on the House floor. And what's going to happen to the soldiers is they're going to get court-martialed, okay? And then they'll probably have them in Obama's camp, Gitmo, the place that he was supposed to close, down there getting tortured to death and get no trial. Yeah. Obama did that plenty of times. The ACLU, as I showed y'all the other day, sued Barack Obama plenty of times for that, including, again, torturing children. You can't make this stuff up, but yet the Democrats just act as if it's just Donald Trump, or they act as if they don't know where the laws come from or who put these things in place. They talk about spying. Well, Barack Obama put that in motion, the NDAA. Okay, spying on American citizens. You got poor Snowden. He hasn't been back in 20 years? Because he dropped a dime on Barack Obama doing exactly that, spying on Americans, doing what he's not supposed to be doing. He did it anyway. You would have thought this was communist China, okay? Did it anyway. The propaganda laws, okay? Like, you cannot make up this stuff, but they act as if they've never seen it before. And the media has never highlighted it, and the people have never seen it. Because they don't go look, they don't read. They just depend on bald-headed joyless Reed, or they depend on people like, Don Lemon to tell them the truth. I hope they don't depend on the Golden Girls to know anything, okay? Sonny is literally a whole slave master, but she gets to sit on here as a Black woman. You can't make this stuff up. You guys, let me know what you think about all of this, okay? And just really quick on that whole third term, Obama ushered that in too, okay? Literally, Obama, everybody was talking about the third term for Obama. Look at it. Like, it's so much stuff on that because they all thought that Obama was trying to be pushed into a third term. But they don't talk about that either. It's just Donald Trump. You can't make this stuff up. Anytime the Democrats are upset about something, best believe it's because they've already done it. Absolutely. Absolutely, guys. So you guys let me know what you think about that, okay? And we are going to get into our last subject, okay? The subject that is on the thumbnail. All right. And that is the Black white supremacists. The Black white supremacists. Okay. You cannot make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. If you guys don't know, during the January 6th time frame, there was a bomber. Okay. He put bombs at the RNC and the DNC. All right. And the government said they were looking for him. They didn't have any more information. And all of a sudden, now the FBI under the Trump administration was able to find out all the information and bring it forth. So I want to get into all of that, but I want to get into what went viral first. What went viral, you say? Jake Tapper saying out loud that the pipe bomber was a white man when the picture of a Black man is on the screen. And I want to know if you guys think it's talking points, if you think it was done on accident, or if you think it was done on purpose. Okay? I want to know your thoughts. Here we go.
Welcome to The Lead. I'm Jake Tapper. After nearly 5 years of investigation, the FBI finally announced that they had arrested a suspect accused of planting pipe bombs near the Republican and Democratic National Committee headquarters the night before the January 6, 2021 Capitol attack. Brian Cole Jr., a 30-year-old white man from the D.C. suburbs, is charged with transporting an explosive device in interstate commerce and with malicious destruction by means of explosion. CNN observed local and federal law enforcement outside his home in Woodbridge, Virginia this morning. Attorney General Pam Bondi gave very few details about the suspect this morning, but said this cold case has been solved.
It's definitely been solved. It's definitely been so. This is a 30-year-old white man. Who would have known? Who would have known? Okay. Oh man, white boys are getting these tapers now. I love to see it. Who would have known? By golly, this is a new white man right here. Okay. Yeah, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Who do they think they're fooling? Like, he absolutely knew that this man was black on this. Like, Jake Tapper has been doing this too long. Fake Tapper knew exactly what he was doing. You cannot tell me. Like,
Welcome to the lead. I'm Jake Tapper. After nearly 5 years of investigation, the FBI finally
teleprompter right there.
announced that they had arrested a suspect accused of planting pipe bombs near the Republican and Democratic National Committee headquarters the night before the January 6, 2021 Capitol attack. Brian Cole Jr., a 30-year-old white man from the D.C. suburbs, is charged with...
I'm done. This is absolutely insane. It's insane. It's insane. It's on the screen, sir. It's on the screen. Like, oh, it does look like a prom picture. By golly. All right. So that is what went viral. Okay. Like, somebody getting fired. Okay. Somebody is getting fired because this makes absolutely no sense. Why would that be on a teleprompter? So yeah, I want answers. Anyway, you guys, let's go ahead and get into what they found. This was absolutely insane. Here is Pam Bondi and gang.
Early this morning, Brian Cole Jr. was arrested and charged with placing the pipe bombs at the RNC and the DNC on January 5th, 2021.
Mm-hmm.
He has been charged with violating 18 USC 844, which is use of an explosive device. This investigation is ongoing. As we speak, search warrants are being executed, and there could be more charges to come. I'm going to let our U.S. attorney discuss that shortly. This was the work of multiple agencies working together. This morning's operation was carried out safely and successfully. Early this morning, Brian Cole Jr.
Oh, it's Friday. So look, we have time. To the person in the chat, he is black. Like, is he not? Is he not? I'm confused. You know, I know we have the trans thing going on, you know, and Rachel Dolezal almost slipped that in there, but you know, he looks black to me. You know, you guys are absolutely nuts. I'm convinced the people with TDS are absolutely nuts. Okay, bald headed reason for a reason, because you are sitting here, smooth brain and all, telling me that there is a picture, there is his name, and they arrested the man, and the man that they arrested is black. Okay, he's black. Like, he's actually black. He's not, you know, like mixed. He's black. He's not white. He's black. Okay? Which tells me that they're so used to being disingenuous that even when they have the information, that they still put out certain things because they want that to be the agenda. If you guys remember a couple of months earlier, you remember when CNN reported that it was I think it was like a bombing or something, but that the person could be a white man. Oh no, it was in New York. Yeah, it was in New York. The guy, he went into the New York building and, you know, he injured some people. I believe he shot some people, had a rifle or something like that. And they said white man then. And lo and behold, you see the guy with the Jerry curl. Okay. You haven't seen that since Luther Vandross. Okay. You haven't seen a Jerry curl that tight since Michael. You have not seen it since Diana Ross. All right. So at the end of the day, I am telling you right now, sir, in the chat, that man is black. Okay. And China News Network, who I don't believe at all, all right, got that information from the Biden administration. Okay. The Biden administration is the ones who found the information. They just never put it out. So yeah. Tell me again if you don't believe liberals, and then I'll tell you, hey, I agree with you, but I'm sure you won't say that. However, let's move on. Now, this is what the FBI deputy director had to say about the entire situation. Because if you don't know, Dan Bongino here, he talked about this case, the bomber, a lot on his own podcast when he wasn't a part of the FBI. So I want to get into what he had to say.
Is you did not find any new evidence. It was all there, had been there for the longest period of time. The only difference between you and Director Wray and the Biden DOJ is they did not prioritize it.
Absolutely.
Why? And I know it wasn't easy to solve, but you did it in 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sean, I don't know what the hell this prior leadership team was doing outside of, targeting political opponents, weaponizing the FBI, destroying its reputation, embarrassing agents that are doing really good work out there, catching terrorists, CCP spies, and everyone else. It's almost like they were intentionally trying to decimate faith in institutions. It's horrifying. I don't know what they were doing. I can tell you what happened, though, when we got there. The director and I, my first meeting, I swore in, and I kid you not, probably 15 minutes later, and the people who are in the meeting know, I said, when I get in there, I want a full brief on this pipe bomber case on day one. And I looked at the case agent after getting a full brief on what they'd done, and they had done some a pretty extensive amount of work. They had chased down, I think, thousands of leads, 6,000 plus interviews had been conducted, hundreds of tips. And it still was relatively stale, the case. And I grabbed the case agent on the way out. And I said, you're going to get me this guy. You're going to track this guy down and you're going to find him. You're going to get me this guy. I want him. And that started what's been almost a 9-month operation right now to make sure that we could get full accountability and transparency to the American public and find this guy. And today we did. But Sean, I have to add this because this is really...
This picture is even worse. Okay. This picture is even worse. Look. By golly. This white man right here is
important. You've heard all the cliches, team effort, you hear it all the time in sports. I said it today at the presser, but I want to emphasize this. This was a team. Yep. Judge Jeanine, Deputy Attorney General Blanche, people you and I know very well, AG Bondi. You cannot do anything in the FBI without DOJ process, subpoenas, drawn paper, search warrants, complaints, arrest warrants. Who do you think does that? It's not just us.
Absolutely.
We're the investigators. They're the lawyers. So that team from day one.
And he's absolutely correct. See, the Biden administration could have been put this information out, but they didn't want to, just like they already knew that the information from the BBC, when they said that Donald Trump told the people to go down to the Capitol and fight like hell and do all of that stuff, they already knew that that video was spliced as well. Okay. They know these things. They had a narrative. You have Nancy Pelosi on video admitting to things. You have all of this. Okay. You have the FBI agents that were in the crowd. Like, you have all of these things. And it's only when it comes to Donald Trump do the left not believe in conspiracy. Okay. Because I can tell you, for my entire time in school, okay, primary, secondary, and college, I can tell you that anybody that was a liberal was a conspiracy theorist. Now, all of a sudden, they're all not conspiracy theorists. Okay. You remember the big conspiracy from the left? Oh my God, Bush stole the election. They came up with it first. Bush stole the election. You still got Al Gore, who, his best friend, Bill Gates, doesn't even believe in climate change like that anymore. And he's still pedal pushing that. And he's still saying that the election was stolen. Okay. Hillary Clinton said the election was stolen. He's an illegitimate president. But by golly, Donald Trump says it, and it's crazy. Y'all are Trump deranged. It's in your spirit because you're a bunch of demons. You're a bunch of demons. Okay. You're absolutely nuts, because there's absolutely no way that you would sit here and say that a person who's on the screen is another race, okay? Who's done something to, or tried to do something to liberals and conservatives, to Democrats and Republicans, okay? Because he put bombs in both places. They tried to put that on Donald Trump, okay? They literally tried to put that on Donald Trump. And people just sit and go with it. But I'm going to tell you like this. At the end of the day, the Democrats are going to have to live through what they have been doing. They lost big in 2024. They're not going to win back the House. They may win a seat or two, but they're not going to win back the House. They're definitely not going to win back the Senate. Okay. But they can keep dreaming. So, you guys, last thing here, I want to get into this right here, because this is also breaking news. Okay. Just a few hours ago, my guy is already doing interviews. If you don't know, he's doing interviews. I don't know why, but he's doing interviews. So he's doing interviews about whatever happened. But one of the things that he said was very peculiar. I want you guys to hear what he said.
We're getting some more details on the man accused of planting pipe bombs right near the U.S. Capitol on the eve of January 6th. Sources tell CNN the 30-year-old suspect in this case, Brian Cole Jr., told investigators after his arrest he believed the 2020 election was stolen, providing the first indication into a possible motive.
Let's go live to our senior justice correspondent, Evan Perez. He's here with us in the Situation Room. What else
I don't
are we
even
learning
got
as this
flavor.
investigation unfolds?
Well, Brian Cole, the suspect in this case, sat for interviews, hours of interviews yesterday with the FBI. And among the statements that he made was that he believed the 2020 election was stolen. Now, that is...
My man has an early 2000s prom picture, which means he's very intelligent. Okay. Anybody that took pictures in front of those clouds right there, they're very intelligent. All right. And so with that being said, he threw a monkey wrench in the game. Okay. He's not stupid. He's absolutely not stupid. But I bet you the liberals will jump on that. I bet you they'll jump on that. Oh, he said this, but you just said that China News Network was lying about this. But now it's absolutely true that he said he believed that the election was stolen. But anytime they're caught, they have to come up with something. Okay, that investigation was like long, and they're not talking about anything else. I wonder why.
A significant piece of information, simply because there's been so much conspiracy, there's been a lot of speculation as to exactly what the motivation could be. Certainly because, if you remember, those bombs were planted on January 5th of 2021, the day before the Capitol riot. They were discovered that afternoon of January 6, 2021, just as the mob of MAGA supporters was breaking through the first cordon of police lines, and then, of course, ransacking the Capitol. So the FBI investigators for a long time were trying to figure out whether the two things were connected. Now, there's certainly a lot more to learn about what his motivation was and whether this really explains everything. But certainly that statement that he provided to investigators in the last 24 hours is the beginning of the story here. Now,
he said something particular. This is the beginning of a story. The beginning of what story? The beginning of what the Democrats can build off of. You guys, they are going to try and do what they did with, the whole Charlie Kirk assassination. Okay. They try to say, oh, he was MAGA when he's a whole leftist. Okay. And even if he was MAGA, he needs to go to jail. Okay. I really don't care if people are liberal or conservative. If you do something against somebody, you go to jail. All right. That man that assassinated the Democratic senators in Minnesota. Yeah, he's right where he needs to be. Like I don't play those games when it comes to human life. Okay, human life is precious regardless. Okay, so I don't care if the person's Democrat or Republican, but let's be clear, they care. They absolutely care. They absolutely care. And that's why he said this is the beginning of a story, because they are trying to figure out a way to flip it. They absolutely are. But we shall see what this ends up turning into, because they are digging into this.
We know that the FBI did a lot of work over the last 5 years. You heard from the Attorney General and the Deputy FBI Director in the last 24 hours describing certainly a lot of the investigative work that is still to be done. But one of the key things that happened here was figuring out the cell phone location for this suspect that matched some of the other evidence. That only happened, Wolf, in the last few weeks, I'm told, as part of this investigation. And that is really remarkable when you think about an investigation that has cost millions of dollars, that has included dozens, perhaps even more than 100 agents that have been working on this case since this happened back in 2021.
And as you know, the Deputy FBI Director, Dan Bongino, is now distancing himself from various conspiracy theories. He actually helped push about this case when he was a podcaster. What's he saying?
Right. Well, when he was a podcaster, just 11 months ago that he was on his podcast. And one of the things he said was that he believed the FBI had not revealed who the bomber was because it was an inside job. Do we have a clip of that to play?
Oh, they got it set up. Look, they got it set up.
You put a post on X right after this happened, and you said there's a massive cover-up because the person that planted those pipe bombs, they don't want you to know who it is, because it's either a connected anti-Trump insider or an inside job.
I was paid in the past, Sean, for my opinions. That's clear. And one day I'll be back in that space. But that's not what I'm paid for now. I'm paid to be your deputy director. And we base investigations on facts.
And look, I was at that press conference yesterday and I raised my hand repeatedly. I did not get called on, but that is actually Hannity asked the question that I wanted to.
Not you raised your hand repeatedly and they did not call on you. Oh, Trump. I love it. I absolutely love it. He said, you're fake news. We're not calling on you. Look at here. Okay. They are going to keep up with this nonsense. They're just going to keep up with it because this is all they have. You still haven't heard a Democratic plan for health care. Okay. Obamacare, ACA is not healthcare. Those premiums have been going up ever since Obama signed that thing into law. Remember, if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor, but you can't keep your doctor because everybody got kicked off and the website didn't work. You remember that, right? Yeah. What happened to that? Oh, they swept that under the rug real quick because it was an embarrassment. All right. But the premiums have been going up every year. Why are we bailing out insurance companies? Why? Because most of Congress, and that includes the rhinos, okay, on the Republican side, most of Congress is in bed with the insurance companies and everything else. So why would they do it? Why would they want to get rid of Obamacare? Okay. Why would they want to do that? And then why did the Democrats go ahead and vote for the insurance to lapse this year? They voted for that. And that's because they wanted to run on an issue. They have to run on something. Because otherwise, they don't have anything. You know that line? I got nothing. They have nothing. Democrats never have nothing. They don't have a plan about anything. Like there's absolutely nothing that they have. It took Kamala 60 days just to add a bullet point for black men because the black men were complaining. It took all of that. It's absolutely insane. So when I look at this stuff here and I look at everything that's going on, they're going to just use that. Okay. The Democrats and the rhinos, they're going to use that to try to get seats, but they don't have a plan. They could have been fixed, immigration. They could have fixed healthcare a long time ago. Why are we doing the ACA when it didn't work under Mitt Romney? They don't like to tell you that that was Mitt Romney's idea. That wasn't Obama's idea. It was Mitt Romney's. He did it first in his state when he was governor. And then Obama said, oh, I like this. I think I'll do it. Mitt Romney and everybody else up there are rhinos and neocons. Okay, you have a few good Republicans. You have a few good Republicans. And you definitely don't have any good Democrats. Maybe John Fetterman. Maybe. But they're all in bed with the insurance companies. Okay. And so it's no different than anything else in government. They hide this, they hide that just to shield what they're doing. And the Democrats are literally going to use this as something else to run on. The people of America, if you guys keep voting for this socialism, you'll get what you get. Okay. Socialism is absolutely wild. Communism is even worse. But it seems like that's what they want. Okay. That's what they want. So go ahead and give it to them. Go ahead and give them socialism. Jersey City, New Jersey, you guys just voted in a progressive socialist, just like Mudami and stuff, but he's white. Yeah. Talking about he's going to get housing in Jersey City, New Jersey. Okay. As a mayor, he's going to get housing in Jersey City, New Jersey under $1,000. Oh, I can't wait to do that video. But you guys, that is all I had today. My random thoughts, my random things I saw today, my random weekend show, because I normally don't stream on Fridays, but I figured I just come on here and kick it with you guys, and I appreciate it. I thank you guys so much. Let me read these super chats because I appreciate you guys giving me super chats. You guys are awesome. Let me make sure I don't skip any. Because StreamYard has not streamlined these super chats. All right, here we go. Chavis, what's going on with the $2 super chat? He's a white guy that looks like Lance Gross. He got a taper and everything. No, Travis Kelsey. Thank you so much. No, John B. Eminem. Thank you so much, James. I appreciate it. Black TV, what's going on, Black? With the $2 super chat, y'all hit that like button. I appreciate it, Black. Thank you so much. Thank you for pulling up. All right, you guys. So I hope you guys enjoy your weekend. Ratchet Crockett has been officially drawn out. So, thank goodness. It's TGIF Friday. The Democrats and the Republicans, it's going to be a wild next couple years. You guys, make sure you vote in your local elections. Make sure you're registered to vote. Okay. Make sure you know who these people are. You have a phone. Even if you don't know the name, Google it. Okay. Just make sure you do that part. I will prefer you not to vote for progressives. But even if you do, just look them up. Like, at least know the information on them. Look at what they stand for. You guys talk all this stuff about, I don't like how this goes. I don't like the jail system. Well, look these judges up. Look them up. Look their records up, including the Democratic ones. Look them up. That's all you got to do. Like, some people just amaze me because they won't just look up the information. When I do this show, we can have fun. We can be serious. But the point of having a red cup, okay? If you guys ever drink from the red cup, when you have a red cup, you usually start talking truth. And the truth is, you guys, y'all have to pay attention. A lot of people are not paying attention. They're not paying attention or even trying to pay attention because you're not going to know everything, okay? They hide a lot. Government in general. But this is the closest that you've ever gotten to an answer in any administration. I can tell you that right now. Is Trump perfect? Absolutely not. Okay? But I can tell you this. This is the first time that I've ever seen in my short lifetime a president that actually tried to do some of the things that he said. I've never in my lifetime experienced a politician that wanted to do what he said. Have not known one. So people can say what they like, but this is the reason why Stephen A. Smith said there's 77 million people that will disagree with you because Donald Trump is doing what he promised to those people. Okay? And it is what it is. You cannot like immigration. You cannot like, the citizenship issue. You cannot like how he talks to the Somalis. Okay? But at the end of the day, this is what people who voted for Donald Trump, including myself, voted for. So he needs to do his job. Okay? We can criticize him on the way, if he does something we don't like necessarily. Okay? And when he does things great, we can give him praise. But this is what we voted for. So, to you people in the chat, I can tell you right now, we don't care. Our guy is in office and he's going to clean it up. You don't like it, in 4 years, you'll get another run at it. I doubt it will work. But you can keep dreaming. So, you guys, thank you for pulling up for my randomness and thank you for listening to my rant. It is Friday. Enjoy your Friday. Everybody in the chat. Ellie, Sino, Got Flavor, Jennifer, Menelik. I think that's what that means. Send me that email. Thank you so much for pulling up. Tropical Empress, thank you so much for pulling up, love. And thank you for the super chat. Thank you so much to Magnetar, Shadow Dragon TV. Thank you, Loud and Clear. Thank you, Yakar. Thank you, Corey. Thank you to Snuggles. Thank you to oh Lord, look at it. Thank you to the maggot in the chat that is Trump deranged. We love the engagement. Okay, come anytime. Okay, you can have dissent. You were respectful. You can have dissent. It's all good. Thank you for being active. We love it. We love to see it. Thank you, Yakar. I appreciate you. Chavis, him under the car. Lord, these names. Yet truck 4422. Thank you so much for pulling up. Donna, thank you so much. I appreciate your love. Thank you, Tyrone. Thank you to let's see here. Who else we got? Ronnie, thank you so much for pulling up. Who else? Snow Bunny Chaser, Lord. Thank you so much for pulling up, y'all, and these wild names. Thank you, Sugar Shane. Thank you to everybody that pulled up today. I know it's an off day, but I appreciate you pulling up anyway. You guys, thank you, Black TV. Chef 73, thank you. I appreciate you. Who else we got? I'm trying to get everybody. Hopefully, I got most of you, as always. I think I did. I think I got a good number, you guys. As always, you guys, thank you so much for pulling up. I appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome as always. It's your girl, Mika. I am out. Peace. Bye.